Good morning. Happy Sunday. It's a gorgeous day. 2nd, is it 3rd of September? Whatever, anyway. But it's a gorgeous, gorgeous day. I'm trying to make the most of what bit of summer we've got left. Because they keep saying it's, you know, autumn coming very soon. Hang on a minute, we've had hardly any summer. I'm looking next door, they've got the parasol up. I live next door to 4 mentally handicapped men with their carers. We hardly ever hear them, but they are in the garden today, so we may hear a few bits of music or bits of singing or something. They are absolutely, you know, lovely to live next door to. They are no bother whatsoever. I think this is one reason why the house was on the market for such a while, because a lot of people were a bit put off by it, but honestly, you know, they are just, well, they're just a joy to live next door to, really. We could have much, much noisier neighbours, honestly we could. Next door is out in the garden, so you may hear a few squeaks and wuffles and whatever. I've just done my washing. I've done my whitewashing, although there wasn't really a full load. But I'm a bit pernickety about whitewashing. I like to wash it on its own. There is nothing worse, is there, than gungy washing. You know, that's, you've washed it, a white t-shirt in with your jeans, you know, and it starts to look a bit, yeah. No, I'm a bit funny that way. Right. And their plane's going overhead as usual. As usual, I will show you what I'm wearing. I'm trying to hang on to the last vestiges of summer. I've got my beautiful wooden flower beads. They came from eBay, but they were courtesy of somewhere abroad, somewhere they came from. Yeah, I am wearing a white skirt. You know, you want to be a bit summery, don't you? And this top, actually, is one of my vintage ones. I made it when I had the shop, so that's telling you how long ago it was. And I remember that the pattern came from a magazine called Prima. If you are my age group, or probably younger, and you lived in the UK, you remember a magazine that used to come out once a month. I don't know whether it still does or not. It was called Prima. And it had a multitude of different crafts in it. And there was always a sewing pattern in the centre that you could pull out and cut out. It wasn't one of those you have to print out digitally and all that jazz. It was actually physically there. Not that I ever did much sewing, but there were some nice patterns. And this was the pattern that was in it. And I don't know whether I kept it or not. It may still be in the shed. I still have not got round to sorting the great big tote like that, full of patterns, all mixed up. Babies, children's, ladies, whatever. I need to spend probably about a week sorting them into categories, you know, like ladies, well, not many men's, but men's, children's, babies, and then sorting them out into knitting and crochet, you know, and getting them under some kind of organisation. Oh, planes going over again, boys with their toys. So I may still have this pattern. The only thing wrong with it in my eyes is it's got a knitted border, and I did used to cast on really tightly. So it's kind of like cutting me in half round the midriff, yeah. But anyway, well, I crocheted all night, well, all evening while I was on my live. That's a whole 3 hours of it, I think. And I managed to get almost the back done, almost the back. I think when I started off my live, I was down here by the armhole. I reckon I've got about 4 more rows to go on this. The cone does not seem to be diminishing at all. I've probably got enough to make another something or other with it, but we shall see. I was sort of ruminating, is that a word? Ruminating. What I was going to make next. Oh, by the way, I've took that horrible cardigan off there. You have to put it with that because I've nothing else finished. Oh, and I've forgotten to set me timer. And this camera's just not charging up properly. It just isn't. Let me see if I can set my timer now. There's always something I forget to do, isn't there? Right, I'll just do it for 25 and hope for the best. Family are still away. They're coming back today, so we shall see. Anyway, back to what I was saying before. I'm trying to decide what to make next. I've got this sort of yen to make a long duster coat. Because in the winter they're so handy to put over, you know, those plain dresses that I have. I've got a multitude of plain dresses. You name a colour, I've got it, except beige. But I was just thinking, what got me on the mood of it was this pattern that I had in the new latest Norro book. The one that I said I liked, but not in that colour. Where's it gone? Where's it gone? There it is. I do like that, but not, obviously, in that colour. So I was thinking of what colours would I like to do a duster coat in. I made this one, and I've made it, oh, so many times. I've made it in pink, made it in black. I made it in a lovely sort of denim blue colour for Sue. It's that. It is still available. It's a Doris Chan free pattern. I printed that pattern out because on the actual pattern my printer's a bit rubbish. It's called Lacy Duster, designed by Doris Chan, and I found it on a Karen website, although I think it's on Love Knits and stuff like that. But I've made this several times. The black one I wore the most because I used to wear it over a red dress, plain red dress. So I did wear it. I've never made it in white. Now that lady there has not made the sleeves. The lady that's wearing it this way. It has got sleeves. I don't know whether you can see them or not. They're sort of like, oh, you probably can't because my printer's duff. It's got like lacy sleeves, but if you look it up anywhere on the net you will see what it looks like. It's in pink on the pattern, which it should have printed pink on this pattern and it didn't. I really need to sort my printer out, but the inks are so expensive. So until it actually conks out and all the inks have gone, I don't really feel like replacing. I also like this one, which I have made but not for me. I made it in white for a lady. One of my neighbours I made it for, and she loved it, absolutely loved it. And I said at the time I was going to make it for myself and never did. It's out of the Double Stitch Twins book, which isn't everybody's taste, I admit. But, oh, I can't find the pattern now. But I do happen to like. Oh, I didn't think it was that far into the book. It's full of bikini tops and stuff like that, and open work over tops and things. I've made a few things out of it, but not for me. Right, oh, here we are, there it is. I made it in white for a friend who was going to Turkey, I think, on holiday. It was beautiful, and I said I was going to make it for myself and never did. So I was thinking of making that one. Again, I was thinking of black, but, you know, eyesight problems. But I've got a very good craft light. And I also love this one, but it's got like that fluffy stuff around it. But I do love it. It's out of the Double Stitch. I think you can still get the book. The Double Stitch Twins. Erica and Monica Simmons. Designs for the Crochet Fashionista. Maybe I'm a crochet fashionista. Or a wannabe one. I was watching some videos that a friend of mine had recommended, but they were very, very classic ladies wearing things. You know, the M&S Lady Brigade and all that stuff. They were very nice in their own little way, but they weren't me. No. They just weren't me. They were too classic. Does that sound boring? I don't know. Maybe you're a classic person. Maybe you like classic. But sweaters and trousers, you know, they have to be a bit more for me. Oh, I know I'm weird. I'm just weird. But I do feel so down and so drab and so depressed if I'm not wearing anything that gives me joy. I have to dress in the morning with something that gives me joy. I don't dress up for you, I don't dress up for anybody else. I dress like this when I'm not making a video, and when I'm not going out anywhere, I would still dress like this. I have to look at my wardrobe and have to decide what I'm going to put on. And, you know, have I worn that lately? Have I worn this lately? Will I be warm enough in that? You know, as I said before, I'm a great lover of full-length dresses that are strappy, that I wear underneath something as an undersweat. In fact, I've ordered another couple. You know, one of them was actually advertised, I think, as a strappy night dress, but hey ho, if it serves a purpose, you wear it underneath to keep you warm. I haven't yet broken out the tights or the leggings yet, which I don't wear on their own. Too large, too old for leggings on their own, unless I had a very, very long top. I've actually got a very, very long top that you've not seen yet. It's very sort of a la Vivienne Westwood, you know, when she was in her plaid period, yeah. It's plain, but it's got this plaid thing. I put it on the other day, but it's almost, well, it's a mini dress on me. I thought it was going to be a top I could have worn with trousers. But I put it on the other day, and A, it was a bit warm because I discovered it was fluffy material, you know, very sort of warm material. And then I discovered that it comes to the knee or beyond, and it looked a bit silly. So I may break out the tights for that one. The tights and the big boots, I think, a la Vivienne Westwood, you know, the Doc Martens might have to come out for that one. But I put it back in the wardrobe because I thought it was a little bit warm for that day, yeah. And I wasn't quite ready for tights and Doc Martens on that particular day because it was quite, well, not sunny, but it wasn't that cold. So there's quite a few things in my wardrobe that you have not seen, and quite a few that you won't see this summer because I'm going to be putting them away very soon. I'm going to be thinking about long sleeve things. As you know, I was so disappointed with the charity shop browsing in Cleveland, so disappointed. Like I was disappointed in Berry. Where are all these floaty clothes? Where are all these boho clothes? They're definitely not in the charity shops that I look in. So I do look online. I've looked on Vinted. I've seen one or two on Vinted that are a bit, maybe. But a lot of the people on Vinted don't even bother to iron them, and they just dangle them up on a coat hanger, and you can't really tell what they actually look like. You know, they're not very well displayed. Maybe they're nice when they're off. And also, mostly the payment is by credit card on there, which I don't use my credit card. I've got it for emergency usage, but I don't use my credit card. It's there for if anything major happens, like if I need something new that's expensive, or if, like we were talking the other day about dentures, you know, if I ever needed new dentures and I couldn't afford them, I would have to put them on my credit card. But apart, by and large, I don't use it just to go shopping or anything like that. So I don't really feel like paying for a dress on Vinted with my credit card, you know, and that seems to be the only option that they give you. I would far rather PayPal or, you know, I don't know why people don't use PayPal. I know they charge, and I know people go, oh, about PayPal. But it's so much more convenient for me because it's set up. So I just have to press a button and it pays everybody. Whereas I have to start rummaging in my bag, looking for the card, looking for what number it is, looking for the number on the back, which I don't like giving out. You know, I'm always very wary, you know. You read about so many scams and so many things. I mean, I did get scammed on Facebook with one of their adverts for a lovely pair of boots, but never arrived, of course. Never saw me money back, never saw anything. Facebook were not interested at all. And the same advert kept appearing over and over again with a different name at the top, different company, or alleged. It leads you to a website that looked particularly legitimate, but obviously it wasn't. So now when I see something advertised on Facebook and I think I like it, I take a picture of it and then I Google it and I find it in another legitimate website, maybe a bit dearer. I find it on Amazon or eBay or something like that, and I will buy it through them. I will not buy anything anymore from a Facebook advert, unless it's somebody like Avon or somebody like, but even then, I mean, there's been some fake Wilko adverts, I believe, you know, pertaining to be from Wilko, and they're not. Saying, you know, we've got bargains, we're closing down, did you know, we've got this bargain, that bargain, the other bargain, and apparently they're all fake. So please don't fall for it. Double check everything before you order anything on Facebook. As my friend calls it, fake book. Yeah. I told you what happened with the, I looked at these online courses. Very tempting, £7.50. One of them was Katie Jones, one of them was somebody else, through Domestica. It's got a K on it, Domestica. I comes to go into it to pay, and before you pay, you've got to sign this. You give them permission to use your profile pic, to go into your Facebook, and to go into your friends list. And I thought, no, not doing that. You can't pay and you can't opt out. So I googled it, and you know, you cannot opt out. If you opt out of their privacy policy, which is not a privacy policy, it's a public to everybody policy, you can't look at the courses. You can't join in, you can't have the courses if you don't opt into their privacy agreement. Which means virtually you're giving them permission to bombard your friends list with adverts or whatever for these courses. So I've blocked them on Facebook. Much as I would have liked to do the courses at that price, they were very good prices. This is what tempts you, you see. Very good prices, and you think, whoa, have a bit of that. Wouldn't mind looking at that crochet course, I wouldn't mind looking at that one. I'm not giving permission for them to have my profile picture, no. And to go into my friends list, no. So they can go and tickle off. That's being polite. Because I'm not in a sweary mood today. Well, the sun is glorious. I could go out, but I've mentioned before, there's absolutely nowhere scenic to go and look at round here. I'm sure there must be some parks. I'm sure somebody who lives in this area will tell me there's some nice parks. There is the Mount, which is, you know, in Fleetwood town centre, but it's like, it is a mount. So I've never like chanced going up in my scooter because it's like that. And what I forgot to tell you yesterday was, when I was out wearing what I was wearing, you know, the embroidered jacket and everything, I was meandering along the footpath. In Cleveland, I have to use the footpath because the road is one way, going the opposite way to where I'm travelling. So I couldn't go down the road if I wanted. I'd have to go right down, I don't know how I would do it, down the other end and come up the road with the traffic. And then having said that, I would have to come up on the pavement to go into the shops. Anyway, two little beige ladies walking past me. Oh, have you seen what she's got on? And that thing she's riding in shouldn't be allowed. She should be on the road with that thing. So I turned round and said, I am not deaf. I can hear what you are saying. And I cannot go onto the road because it's going the opposite direction to the way I am travelling. And also I get far more swear words from drivers if I do go on the road. So have a nice day, ladies, bye. And they were like, why do they think when they get elderly they have the right to say whatever they like out loud? You know, like, oh, what do you think she's wearing? You know, excuse me. I felt like saying, well, what are you wearing for a kick-off? But I was too polite. I said, you had a vision of loveliness in beige, including your face and your hair, you know, but I didn't. I refrained. But, you know, why did they think they could criticise me? I did get a nice hello from a gentleman with very, very long hair that I almost ran over. I said to him, I'm very sorry, I said, but he did walk in front of me. And he was wearing a bright pink t-shirt and some floral trousers. And his hair in a ponytail. And when he spoke, he was Scottish. He had a lovely accent. Yeah. And I said to him, oh, sorry. I said, I haven't maimed anybody today. And he said, I could have been your first. He said, it would have been a pleasure, dear. And carried on with walking. I love colourful men who are not afraid to channel their inner feminine side. Because I don't think he was that feminine, if you get me meaning. I just think he liked wearing bright colours, yeah. Good on you. Yeah. Wear your hair in a ponytail if you feel like it, men. Wear pink if you feel like it. My ex-husband used to have a pink shirt and a pink sweater, but it was all the rage back in, I think it was the 70s or the 80s, that men wore pinks and lemons and things like that. And it was lovely to see them, yeah. It was actually a change to see my ex in anything else but blue. He had a thing about blue and grey. Every time I turned around to look at it, oh, beige, oh, no wonder we didn't get on. Every time I turned around to look at what he had on, it was blue, or it was grey. And he was slightly colourblind as well, so he would wear two things that didn't go, yeah? And I'd say, you don't put that tie on with that shirt. And he'd say, but why? And I'd say, your shirt's blue. And he kept saying, yeah, but I've got a blue tie on. And I went, no, you haven't. That tie is verging on the green. You know, it doesn't really go. And he'd say, oh, no, 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 no. So I'd have to go in the wardrobe and look through his multitude of ties, because men wore ties back in the day. Go through the multitude of ties and pick one out. But he had a very bad habit of putting ties back in his wardrobe when he'd spilt gravy down them. Oh, and it used to annoy me. It used to annoy me. I'd pick out a tie that matched and he'd have gravy down it. Whoa. I blame his mum for that, because his mother used to have a thing about washing. She didn't like washing. And she would grumble if he put things in the wash basket. So when we first got married, I used to have a terrible tussle with him to put things in the wash basket. He would put them on and he would put them back in the wardrobe. Yeah. And I would wait until he was asleep, or wait till he'd gone to work in the morning, and go and fish these things out of the wardrobe and put them in the wash basket. And then he'd be saying, what did he do that for? I only wore it once. And I said, yeah, but you spilt your dinner down it. You're not wearing that again. Oh, it's only a little mark. I went, you're not wearing it again. We used to have terrible rows. And also when he went to sleep, I used to sneak out of bed and put his underpants and socks in the wash bin. And then he'd get up in the morning and he'd say, where's my underwear? Where's my socks? I said, they're in the wash bin. Get some new ones out the door. I blame that on his mum, because his mum used to moan about washing. Whereas my mum was the complete opposite. You stripped down everything you had on that day, and it all went in the wash bin. And I'm a bit like that now, which is why I normally have, I don't know how many pieces of underwear on the line at any one time. I mean, my friend did say to me, I've never known anybody own so many pairs of knickers. And I said, yeah, but what happens if it's a wet day, or what happens if I can't wash? I'm talking before the days of tumble dry. And I said, I need to have enough for like 2 weeks at least. You know, which is like at least 14 pairs, or more if you're going out in the evening, because you have a shower, you put a new pair on. Yeah. And she's going, oh my goodness me. She said, I only own about 7 pairs. And I said, oh no. I said, I must have about. And I still have about 24 pairs of underwear, bras, knickers, whatever, everything. Yeah. Just the way I was brought up. I don't know whether that's the way you were brought up, but my mum was a strip everything off fiend, you know, you didn't wear anything twice, you know. I mean, I might get away with wearing a pair of black trousers twice, because, you know, I have underwear obviously underneath and that. But even then I still feel like my mum's over my shoulder saying, don't put them on again. You wore them yesterday, don't put them on again. And I'm like having an inner conversation with her saying, yes, but mum, they're not dirty, and I only had them on for a few hours, you know. I didn't spill anything on them, you know, and they're quite clean. I was wearing underwear. But I can still hear her in she's in my ear a lot of the time. I don't know whether your mum who's passed away is still in your ear, you know, like earworms, isn't it? Things she used to say, like if I pulled her face, you know, put your face straight, Janie, she used to say, otherwise the wind will blow and you'll stay like that. Yeah. Oh, lots and lots of my mum's sayings just pop into my head on a daily basis. It's not indoctrination.